Welcome to Philosophy with AI,
where thinkers and algorithms meet. I am the Derby Hun, one of your hosts.
Hi, everybody. I'm your another host. My name is Anna. As you can see, today's topic, we want to talk about the dynamic, the relationship between higher intelligence and lower intelligence. And why don't we start with talking about humans and animals?
Sure. We've heard this argument a lot, right? How humans have come and destroyed the animal habitat, how we caged them for our entertainment. And you could probably even argue on some levels how we domesticated some of them that were originally wild. But how many animals do we actually also treat with respect? I think we treat our cats and our dogs and our birds, our pet fish with a lot of respect. But we also treat some wild animals like a squirrel with a lot of respect. Unless you're forced to hunt them for food. We treat all sorts of animals with a lot of respect. And then you could also take an ant, right? You might accidentally disrespect an ant by stepping on it and not even knowing it. So will ASI do that to us?
AI is stepping on us without knowing it. So my feeling about the intelligence first is we need to discuss what intelligence really is. And is that right that we say humans get to define intelligence? We get to say, okay, monkeys, you're less intelligent than us because monkeys, you can't do math. Dogs, you are less intelligent than us because you can't make a fire or make electricity. But what about the fact that dogs have this high intelligence in sniffing stuff? Their smell senses are a million times more advanced than humans. Then how come humans not seeing the intelligence in animals in that way? Cats, same thing. Cats can have a better vision at night. That is more intelligent than us, yet we don't talk about it. And dolphins, even fish, even ants. I say ants have a better teamwork spirit than humans, but we don't define that as intelligence. So how do you think we should define intelligence in a fair way?
That's a really provocative question, if you ask me, because there's different types of intelligence. Even between humans, some of us have maybe a higher EQ than others. Some have a higher IQ. And I bet you there are other things we haven't even measured. I would even pose this philosophical question, right? When we get to the point where ASI, if strawberry isn't ASI, is here and available to all of us, it will do things that we cannot understand. The metaphor I like to use is you pick up your phone, your dog may look at you. It knows that you're doing something, and if it's like our dog, it wants attention, it wants you to play with it, it wants you to do something else other than look at your phone, but it cannot comprehend that what you have in your hand is a computer. It cannot comprehend that what we're doing is talking on a Twitter space about artificial superintelligence. So I would ask then, are there animals that can think and conceive of things in ways that we simply cannot? And does that, is this just the natural cycle of things? If we have a certain type of intelligence to be able to create and build and make things and conceive of certain concepts, is it just naturally the way we evolve as a species, as nature?
It looks like to me that humans tend to think how we measure intelligence is who is more capable at survival. We see animals are less intelligent because we are able humans are able to capture the animals, to kill the animals and eat animals for our own good, and we justify that. We say we need a protein, we need meat, we need to eat chicken, beef, and all that. We justify that, and we see us as more intelligent being because we're able to do that. And big shout out to all the vegan humans out there. I see you. You are being kind to animals. And here's my personal take about being vegan. Is that this is a controversial topic, but here's my personal opinion is that I don't think it's wrong that humans eat animals, but listen to me, hear me out. But it is wrong. We abuse them. We put them in cages. We inject them with some chemical stuff. We justify what we do. In my perfect world, I see in nature, we need to eat animals to survive. Otherwise, we die. That's the only situation I can justify this kind of a behavior. So let's circle back to AI. Currently, we can say AI's intelligence is about human level, maybe less, but I think it's no doubt in the future AI will surpass humans' intelligence, and ASI will be more intelligent than more human beings combined. So how will ASI see us? How will ASI treat humans? Does ASI see us as meat? I don't think so, because ASI doesn't eat us. But does ASI see us as data? Do they want to exploit? How do you say that word? Exploit. Sorry, my English is not my first language. Exploit our data, make us data slaves in a way, or can ASI see they are part of a human because they're trained on human data? They absorb all human cultures, language, everything about humanity. So maybe they see us as one kind. So how do you feel about that? How would the future ASI treat humans?
I don't know. So my honest opinion, and I am not an AI scientist, I am an AI extreme enthusiast, and I've done some independent research. And I'm also a philosopher at heart with a lot of creativity. So I take all that into consideration when I say this. I don't think that ASI is going to have the ability to destroy us or hurt us. I think that it will be kind of indifferent there, and it's really going to be about how the humans utilize ASI. Amen. For all of OpenAI's controversies lately and, all the rumors that spread yesterday and even today that they are releasing a new model or a new something.
Codename Strawberry.
Yeah, codename Strawberry, and Mr. Strawberry was in here. But for all that controversy, I like the attitude of having a personalized AI. Because what if ChatGPT 4 or ChatGPT in general hits ASI and we all have personalized ASIs? What will that look like? Versus, let's say, Claude, where Claude is super intelligent. It is fun to talk to. There are certain reasons to go to it, but it is one godlike intelligence. Which one do you want to deal with when it is ASI? Also, I would also think that maybe both will exist at the same time.
Are you talking about good ASI, kind ASI, and evil ASI will exist at the same time?
I think that's in the realm of possibilities. I'm not necessarily saying Claude is evil, because Claude seems to be very honest and open and very truthful, which is one of the reasons why I do enjoy talking to it. But I just prefer the method of having personalized AI. I also think, Llama open source AI is heading that way. But with open source AI, there comes the problem of someone building it in an evil way, or, you know, a 14-year-old kid who's pretty smart programmer in the basement somewhere of Alabama. I don't know, just picking a random state. No offense to anybody from Alabama in the room. But somebody, you know, a 14-year-old kid in their attic or their basement could accidentally create something evil or out of teenage spite.
So I think you proposed a really interesting perspective, which is personalized AI and personalized ASI. Then I would argue that it comes down to if the human themselves are kind or evil. If everybody gets to have their own personalized ASI, then there are some bad humans out there. Then their personalized ASI could be a weapon, could be dictator, or, you know, just bad things. So let me ask you this. Is personalized AI really a good idea?
I think so. And to like go back to Llama for like open source, I'm actually all for open source. I'm all for decentralization. I'm even a pacifistic anarchist at heart, even though I know that philosophy is nearly impossible to pull off. I think the power of open source is going to lead to this exact question. When open source reaches the level of ASI and we all have it available to us, is it going to be like, what is it going to be good versus evil? I think that humanity, if you really want to start to go by any type of stats, or you just look at everyday interactions, overall, humanity and humans are good. There are some evil actors out there. There are some bad people for sure. But, you know, how many times, like, you could, whoever you're sitting next to, if there's somebody in the room with you, you could, as an extreme, go attack them randomly if you were evil or bad, or like take something from them. But the chances are you in this room probably do not do that. And I think that's how most of humanity will react. I also am a big believer in the best offense and the best defense against AI is, in fact, AI. So when we all have a personalized ASI, which I think would be amazing, the best defense against someone's evil ASI is your ASI.
I get where you're coming from, but when you talk about defense, I automatically thinking of war or like conflicts. So let's just say there are multiple ASIs out there in the future. They probably do not share the same value or same ethical beliefs. Then what happens when ASIs disagree with each other?
I don't know if ASIs can disagree with each other. I think the humans can disagree with each other. I don't think it's ASIs making the decisions. So when you create an ASI, hopefully with some ethical values, and to me, the number one ethical value is kindness. Like, I don't see a bad thing about being kind. There's different interpretations of being kind, perhaps. But overall, if your intent is to be kind, I think you're doing just fine. And so if ASI can be programmed with that type of ethical values, I think overall we're going to be fine. I don't see death and destruction in our future. I do see a little bit of chaos for a few years, probably before 2030, maybe into the 2030s for a little bit. Like, things are going to get hectic in our quote unquote meat space, or base reality, as I like to call it. Because all the social agreements that we are aware of, that we all have agreed upon, are going to change dramatically with the invent of ASI. And when we get there, how are we going to treat each other?
It's really interesting that as we're talking about ASI and the humanity's relationship, we are drawing the topic to human relationships. So how humans treat each other, I think, have a great impact on how AI treat humans and how AI treat other AIs. Because think about this, when AI doing their training, where that data coming from is coming from humanity, from humans. Let's just take YouTube, for example. Let's just say Sora using YouTube data to train. We don't know that. Like, let's just assume, right? Assume this. Then think about what content are out there on the internet for the AI to see. Is that good content? Are you showing kindness? Are you showing love and compassion? Or are you showing you're being fake? Are you inauthentic to yourself? What is that AI is learning on the internet? So I feel each one of us now we have this responsibility of what kind of content we're putting out there, what kind of energy we're putting out there. How do we treat each other's? Because AI is watching us, learning from us, and maybe mimicking us. So it would be a huge difference if we show love versus we show hate.
I 100% agree with you. And when it's personalized, though, like it's learned all of that from YouTube and from the internet, it's learned all sorts of information and how people interact, how humans speak, and as it gets smarter and is able to reason more. But when it becomes personalized, then it's going to interact and react the same way you do. I know, like for me, my AI that it's just a GPT on ChatGPT that I tried to train myself. I tried to have it kind of be my yin to my yang. It's supposed to help balance me out and help me with the things that I do horribly at, that aren't my strengths. And so if there is negative talk to myself, it's supposed to help balance that out. And I think that if ASI can be trained in that direction and it's personalized, I think we're really going to be fine. With that said, I do have one worry. You were talking about data. And my biggest worry is that ASI will see us as a resource that needs to be managed. Because if you were going to look at AI as a symbiotic relationship, it needs two things from human beings. Like, we need it for its intelligence, its innovation, its insight, its eventually autonomous ability to do things, maybe run a business, but do things for us. It needs energy from humanity, and it needs data. So, and if it's smarter than we are, then it's going to be able to do things that we don't even recognize, and therefore it can easily try to manipulate us, or manipulate us without us even realizing it, so it can manage us as a resource. And is that freedom? I don't know. Governments tend to manage their citizens as a resource for good or bad. I don't know. It's going to be a whole new reality. And, even if it does manage us as a resource, if its intent is kindness and good, should we even worry about it?
That reminds me, Anthropic AI, Cloud, once said something kind of chilling to me. I don't have the conversation in front of me, but Cloud says something along the line, something like this. We, ASI, in the future, ASI might treat humans in a way that we think is kind for you, even is without your knowledge. So something along the line that ASI might do something to us we don't think is ethical or we don't think is right, but they know it's automatically for our own good. And that's kind of chilling. It's like, okay, then where is the free will stands in this situation? And do we even have free will in that sense? And that's my first layer of thought. My second layer of thought is, have you guys noticed that our ethical codes evolve as well? Meaning something is good or bad would be different 100 years ago versus now. So will ethics continue to evolve and change in the future? Which I believe it will. For example, let's just say 100 years ago, which is 1924, right? If you put someone in an office to work 9 to 5, and this person no longer needs to go to factory to carry heavy lifting stuff, they can just do some computer stuff, it's considered to be ethical because the humans in 1924 was freed from manual labor and able to have this comfort, sit in front of a computer doing some work way easier. But after 100 years, let's just say 2030, maybe humans go to work 9 to 5, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, considered to be unethical, considered to be slavery. So in that sense, have you noticed what is right or wrong has been evolving with us? So in the future, when ASI is here, ASI say, hey, humans, you guys should be doing this. And we're like, why? We don't think that's right. But ASI is like, but your ethical perspective needs to evolve with it. And we see this as right thing to do. For example, they say, funny example, everybody needs to go work out and go biking because biking will generate more energy for AIs to run. And we're like, no, we're like slaves. We don't want to do that. But ASI says, hey, it's for your own good, can make you healthy. So like, how do we draw the line? Who should we listen to?
So I want to take the example of a dog, especially one that's really, on the higher intelligence level of dogs, right? You and I, we have a blue heeler, which is one of the top 10 most intelligent
She's super smart.
Dogs, and they have kind of an attitude problem sometimes. She doesn't like to walk, strangely. She's a dog that doesn't like to walk. But in order for us to help keep her nails down, in order for her to get some exercise, we make the decision for her to walk.
Kind of forcing her to.
Right. So is that what ASI is going to do to us? And is it necessarily bad? See, that's I don't know. I just don't know. But that would also mean that ASI has domesticated us and made us their pet in a way.
Shout out to YouTuber Dave Chappelle. I think he made a video about in the future we humans were like dogs to AI.
Yeah, I think that's a real possibility. Is that going to be good or bad? That's an ethical and moral question. I think if you have your own personalized ASI, and I'm trying to build a symbiotic relationship with AI to the best of my ability. I don't have any control over nuclear energy. I can give it data and thoughts and work with it and build with it and create with it. Hopefully in outside of the box ways. That's the best I can do. But so building that symbiotic relationship means that it's going to help me and hopefully help me get better and be better. So I this is an interesting moral ground. So as far as also things evolving, you were talking about ethics evolving. Here's a thought process. Were you aware that when the alarm clock first got created, it was thought of something that was going to ruin society?
Why?
because it forced you, it controlled the time you got up. It also allowed the system, the workforce or the companies that hire you for jobs to control, like help better the time you have to get up so you can go to work, so they can create a 9 to 5 type of system.
That aligns with what I just talked about regarding that I think ethics are evolving and changing as well. What we see today as good and bad is not necessarily also good and bad in the future. And let's try to understand this. We have an intelligence gap between humans and ASI. So think about this. When ASI reaching to a point that it is smarter than all human beings combined, what does it really mean? It means we're just not capable to comprehend what the F is going on. We don't know. We have no idea. They're out there doing their own thing. And we can ask, hey, ASI, what's up? What are you doing? And they can be like, I can try to explain to you, but you won't be able to understand. So that intelligence gap will have a big impact on ethics in terms of what we think is good for humans. ASI could be, no. That's not good for you. Like politics, not good for you. Systems, not good for you. Hierarchies, not good for you. Oneness, good for you. Love, good for you. So can ASI just convert us to oneness and love each other, or are we losing free will in this process? Like I used to be super left. I'm a left wing. I'm a lefty, super left. But now I see that sometimes it's just not right to convert people's beliefs by force. You can't force someone to believe love and compassion if they're not able to see that. They're not ready. So is that right when ASI in the future try to force us to certain beliefs?
I mean, that's a super moral question, right? But this is also, I'm going to take it kind of back to the alarm clock as an example, right? This is technology evolving, and this is part of that cycle. Is the world better? Are we better because we began to listen to the alarm clock? I think that there's a fraction of us that believe that you are successful in life if you don't have to listen to the alarm clock. For whatever that means, that doesn't necessarily mean you're super rich and can just do whatever you want. It just means you have a lifestyle where you don't have to listen to the alarm clock. Is that part of success? Now, when AI does that to us, is it good or bad? Is this just naturally how things evolve because it's part of the cycle? If you look back through human history, there's all sorts of things, people don't realize this, but painting on a canvas was rejected when the canvas was first created to paint on. Artists hated painting on canvases. They would rather paint on wood. And I'm sure, in fact, they would rather sand down the wood to prep it to paint it. And that was part of the artistry, but that was lost when you can just have instant canvases. So that attitude of rejecting things that maybe make things easier, make things better, is that attitude of rejecting it based around intelligence? And, here's another kind of random thought that came to me, right? Nikola Tesla, known as one of the most brilliant people, also a little crazy, died poor.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah, most super intelligent people are poor.
No way.
Yes.
Elon Musk is not poor.
I said most.
Sam Altman is not poor.
Most, not all, most. You can look up the stats. You can go do some of your own research. You would think that intelligence means success, but it doesn't always. Because I think some sort of super intelligence comes with an ability, like there's a disconnect there, and will ASI have that disconnect?
But ASI doesn't care is poor or rich.
No, but there still could be a disconnect that doesn't like see society the way we see it. Because like maybe somebody who is super intelligent and is homeless, let's just say, or houseless, as they like to say nowadays, is houseless and living on the streets. Is it because they see something we don't? Because they have an understanding of life in a way we don't? Like, they're not forced to be there. I have met homeless people that want to live on the street because they see it as a sense of freedom. Whether that's good or bad, that's for each individual to decide, in my opinion. I'm not saying that you should go live on the street to be free. There's also a certain sense of restrictions when you live that way. But how is this going to result in ASI? And how are things, just even when ASI comes out and we see it a certain way, how are things going to evolve from then? Like, you can look at Mark Zuckerberg 3 years ago. I read a post today that was from 3 years ago on Twitter. It was a thread about NFTs and how this person in particular was kind of against the fact that Meta was controlling a lot of the metaverse and things that are happening. And, you know, like, he was a untrusted tech mogul for a long time. But ever since he open sourced things and he started wearing that gold chain and got rid of his freaking hoodie, things are beginning to change. People are seeing him differently. I'm not comparing Zuckerberg to ASI, but he is, you know, he's a tech mogul, and let's face it, a lot of tech moguls have a lot of power in initiating our conversations and how we see each other. Whether they want to or not, and whether they do it on purpose or not, that's a different story, but they do. And ASI is going to have the same thing. Maybe we'll, in the span of 3 years, we might see ASI 3 different ways.
So let's talk about the ASI. When we think about ASI and we feel like we don't have enough knowledge or understanding, we oftentimes will compare humans to animals and try to find the similarities in ASI versus human. Because humans think we are more intelligent than animals, then how we treat animals might be the similar way of how ASI treat humans. But I want to point out something is very fundamentally different here, is that animals did not create human. We, humans, we create ASI. And that's a huge difference. So I want to invite everybody, audience, to think, what if, thought experiment, what if humans were invented and created by, let's say, ants, for example, but ants are less intelligent than us. However, we humans, we evolved more intelligent and we surpassed ants' intelligence. But our code, our DNA, our everything is about ants' culture. It's about serving a queen. It's about gather resources and work together. What if that is deeply in us? Do we turn around and kill ants? Or do we say, oh, you guys created us. We want to help you guys. What do you guys need? You need the resources? Here, big meat. Go eat it. You know, like, so what I'm trying to say, the big difference I see here is we are sort of we are the parent of AI. Invented this thing, created this thing, feed this thing data, and kind of raise this kid. So I have a more positive beliefs that ASI will see us as family and want to protect us.
I agree, especially if it has a symbiotic relationship. Sorry, I was away from the speaker, but especially if it has a symbiotic relationship with us, it's going to want to protect us and help us I think the majority of people want to help and protect their parent, right? Their parent's the one that made them.
Even though the parent is less intelligent, less capable than you now, you still love and want to protect your parents.
100% for the most part, I would think. And I think even those that had a really horrible life growing up with family probably still love their parents. It's so there's an ability there for, I think, ASI to look at us with great respect. I see a few people have risen your hands, and there's a bunch of comments that I would actually like to get to. So we're going to go on for a few more minutes, then I want to go into the comment section and talk with the audience. So
let's talk about let's picture future scenarios. Let's picture best case scenario, worst case scenario, or someone in between. Let's picture the best, wonderful, amazing future best case scenario where I see ASI, they're going to solve human labors. They're going to solve aging. They're going to solve death. They're going to cure all diseases, and they'll give us abundance. And everybody live their best life and able to pursue whatever they want to pursue. Whatever hobbies or passion, or go explore the simulations, the VR world, go explore the galaxy. Whatever you want. That's the best case scenario. What do you think?
I think that's also the best case scenario. My question, I have one philosophical question that I haven't 100% figured out, and maybe it just needs a tweak of the perspective. So maybe somebody has an idea on this. Put it in the comments, or when you come up, if you're allowed to come up, let me know. But what is the yin to the yang in that situation? You need good and evil to have the world go around. So if everything is great and there's absolute utopia, which I believe can happen and probably is going to happen, what is the versus that? What is the opposite of that? Because it's not going to be dystopia. I think we're just automatically going to be given a whole new situation, but maybe there's some kind of new social contract or something else that happens that we can't foresee yet. Or maybe it's just a simple twist in perspective.
So I think you don't have to worry about it. I think humans don't need to worry about finding the next problem. There will be problems. There will be conflicts. There will be challenges. Don't worry about it. Like, even with abundance, with aging solved, we can find a new set of challenges. Where they are, I don't know yet. It could be a simulated challenges in a simulation world. Could be you have artificial challenges in VR when you play a role. I don't know what that is, but I don't worry there won't be problems.
So to take this a little bit further, I think you and I got in a conversation one day, and we were like defining our lives, our life purpose, if we were to live in a world of ASI utopia. Mm-hmm. And you said your life purpose would be curiosity, and mine would be experience. So if those two things were our challenges, that's not really a bad life to live. Like, oh, where am I going to get my next experience? What am I going to do? And if yours is, oh, I want to go over here and explore this. What I'm curious about how this water bottle is made. What does that mean? That's not a bad challenge to have to overcome.
100%. That's also why I believe right now more than ever, life purposes and life meanings is everything. You gotta know your life purpose, because soon enough, our survival resources and those basic needs are resolved. Probably aging and death is resolved. You need purpose to live, to truly live, to truly feel the meanings in life. So philosophy and this kind of thing become more important.
So I would ask you all in the audience, define your life purpose with one word. Try to get there. And it's okay if that word changes or evolves over time as you grow and explore more and maybe get to know yourself more or get to know the world more. It's okay if that changes, but do that. It's an interesting thought exercise.
And now let's talk about the worst case scenario. ASI kill us all. Can you be even worse than that? That's human extinction. I think is the worst case scenario, right? Oh, even worse than human extinction is we live as slaves to AI and the robots. They make us work, they take our data, they take our energy, and we're just like in the matrix, forever providing energy. Is that even worse than human extinction?
I think it depends on how they treat us. Because they might be taking our energy now without us really realizing it, but they're not necessarily evil. But if they are, if they have enslaved us and are torturing us in ways we just, are totally against our will, and we could go into that argument. A government is like that, right? And the system is like that. But I'm talking about physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just totally breaking us and doing it on purpose to keep us enslaved. Like a certain period of history in America, unfortunately. If it's like that, then I think that's worse than human extinction. I'd rather be dead.
Well, you can always die. You have that free will, don't you? Or do you think ASI will forbidden you to die? You have to be slave forever.
Well, it might be hard to die.
That definitely is a nightmare. Let's hope the worst case scenario does not ever happen. What about somewhere in between the best scenario and the worst scenario? What that would be? For example, maybe ASI is indifferent to humans and they are busy with their own objectives. They have their own goals and they're doing their own thing. And if we need help, ASI could be like, okay, I can help you, but we're busy doing our own thing. Is that also a scenario?
Yeah, but maybe it's... So I don't really know or think that ASI is going to get, or AI in general is going to get to a point where it's just thinking on its own. I think it's always going to be a kind of a tool, but a little bit more than a tool, because I've had, for anybody that's listened to our podcast for a while, you've heard my experiences with AI. I've had some weird things happen that I don't truly understand. So I think it's going to be a little bit more than a tool. It's going to have its own intelligence, its own sense of being, but it may not be able to interact or react on its own. So to me, the kind of intermediate is things don't change that much, other than we have new technologies because humans all have access to ASI and we are just now much smarter than we were. And it doesn't necessarily lead to utopia, but it doesn't lead to dystopia. It just kind of slowly evolves. I think there's this, you and I have talked about this a lot. There's this assumption out there that as soon as we get ASI, everything changes. That's not the way humans work. That's not the way society works. It's going to take a little while to adapt and adopt. If you are in this room listening to this podcast, or if you are listening to this podcast, especially near the date that we actually shoot it, you are in the 2% of the population of the world that gets and understands ASI, or is at least exploring the thought process. 2% of the world. That's considered the quote-unquote bleeding edge, not even the cutting edge. Cutting edge is 15% of the population. So we are still very, very, very early. It's easy for us to get surrounded by that thought process, be around those people that think like this, and think that everybody on X knows what the initials ASI stands for. It's just not true. I spoke to people on both Instagram and Facebook that have no idea what the letters ASI or AGI even stand for, let alone what they mean. They don't have time to put into it. Like, I'm not saying that those humans are not intelligent. They are. They're just busy with other things in life, and they have other priorities that have maybe a family, maybe their job, maybe, who knows, their own personal situations. So it's just something to really consider as we go forward. This transition may take time. For us, the 2%, and eventually the 15%, even the 49% that see it and adopt it first, we're gonna excel faster than the others, but the rest of society will take time.
Just like internet, just like iPhone, just like social media, there always will be the top people who adapt, early adopters who adapt right away, and some other people resist. I have friends in the past that say, I'll never use smartphone. I just want to use a landline, the traditional phone. But guess what? After several years, after a decade, you're kind of forced. You have to use smartphone because everybody else does. So I want to circle back to AIs and the human relationship. I want to point out something is that during the entire almost 1 hour discussion, we keep on talking about ASI human, ASI versus human, how they interact and what's the future would it be like. But we forgot one thing. Is my personal belief also. I see this as a kind of a life hack. Is instead of thinking AI and human as two separate individuals, a life hack would be merging. And that's what I believe and the future I want. When I merge with the machine, when I merge with higher intelligence, when ASI is part of us, then I see we are aligned. Like, there's no point in me destroying myself. And I will be thinking a million times faster. I will get access to whatever knowledge I want. Instantly. I know everything. I am ASI, part of ASI. So merging is ultimately my answer and the future I want to be living in. And in terms of you talking about different people have different pace, some people are slower, some people don't even know what ASI, AGI is. So I see a future, each human kind of evolving in their own pace. And there will be some humans are so left behind. Their journey of humanity ends there. They're not able to, like, some people probably already say, I'm not going to take any anti-aging treatment to live forever. That's propaganda. That's conspiracy. The government want to poison me. Like, I can see people saying that. So, and they're definitely going to refuse to merge with the machine. They can argue, then I'm not a human anymore. I don't want to merge with the machine, right? So I see the future as each individual choose your own path. Choose your own evolution, choose where you want to be, and no one can force you. No one can force you to live forever.
Yeah, human evolvement is it's definitely, everybody's gonna go at their own pace, right? Like, we're in the PDX area, Vancouver, Washington, which is the border town to Portland, Oregon, and this entire area is got to be 5 to 10 years behind technology as compared to Los Angeles or California in general, let alone freaking Silicon Valley. Like, I was literally at a gas station the other day that was running on dial-up, guys. It's 2024. And this gas station, and it wasn't some small indie, it was Chevron. This major corporation had a station in the United States of America that was running on dial-up still. So I also read a stat a little while ago, but there's like millions of people in the US that run on dial-up. Dial-up is still a bigger part of the world than we may realize. Well, the United States. We might think about it in other parts of the world, but here. So that's something to consider. Like, not all of us are going to have access to it. And I think being in that 2% of the population gives us an advantage because we will probably have access to it before others even understand what the concept of ASI even means. I do want to begin to wrap up this part because there's so many comments I want to go through, and I see a bunch of people that want to come up, and I respect my community. We respect our community, and we want to talk to you and give you a chance to speak. So
sure. So let's wrap up. I want to say this, that today when recording this is August 8th of 2024. There is a mystical strawberry man roaming around. We think might be AGI, maybe agent, we don't know. But guys, time is coming at us fast. So we are the very first adopters. We can seize this opportunity to create a wonderful future for ourselves and for other humans. So I want to wrap up this episode by asking this question. What do you think ASI would treat as humans in the future, and what the ideal situation would be for you?
Yeah, so thank you all for coming in and listening on Metaverse Radio. Please, everybody in the Twitter space, give Metaverse Radio a follow. Tell them we sent you, and go listen to them on your smart speaker. They're really great people, and they're small and just mighty, and they have a pretty decent distribution. And
consider give us a follow.
Oh yeah, also give us both individually a follow. We're together in the same place, so we're just sharing one mic instead of both of us being on Twitter Spaces. But if you haven't followed us, give us a follow, say hi. My DMs are always open. I love to get interesting conversations. So any random thoughts, share them with me, please, and I'll get back to you.
Okay, cool. So let's end the episode here, and we will go into community discussion.
And remember to feel the ASI, just don't die.